What is up, neighbors? This week we are covering our second edition of the New Jersey Haunts, and we are listening to The Shades of Death Road, the New Jersey Devil, and the Cape May Ghosts. And we are your hosts. I'm Julia.
I'm Haley.
And I'm Janina.
So let's get into it.
Ooh. Today, for our first NJ Haunts, I'm going over the origin story of the New Jersey Devil. So, let's get right into it. First, little history note recap for all of you that weren't paying attention in history class like me. Apparently, Ben Franklin had a rival who was Titan Leeds due to their aspirations to both make and sell almanacs.
What?
Yes, clearly one of them gets way more remembered in history.
What's almanacs?
I think that's like the old school version of the encyclopedia.
Oh, okay. Sounds like a chemical.
I think. I could be wrong. Someone fact check me on that. But anyways, let's get right into... So with that context, the NJ Devil was born into the Leeds family. And again, some people think the myth started because Ben Franklin's rivalry. Ben Franklin's obviously the more famous one in history, so someone won that battle. But in Pine Barrens, New Jersey, which for those of you that aren't familiar is southern New Jersey, Mother Leeds was not living a very wealthy lifestyle by any means. Her husband was a drunk who made very few efforts to provide for his wife and 12 children. Upon discovering that she was expecting her 13th child, she exclaimed in exhaustion and frustration that the child would be the devil, or more precisely, quote, "Let it be the devil," end quote. On a dark and stormy night, sorry, I was going to say, let's not forget that 13 is like associated with the devil as well. Yeah. So, very specific 13 there.
13 kids, bro.
Imagine. On a dark and stormy night in 1735, Mother Leeds was in labor, giving birth to a normal child, but then the 13th child changed into a creature with hooves and a horse's head, leathery bat wings, and a forked tail. Its eyes began to glow bright red as they grew larger, and the monster gnarled with its snarling face. The creature savagely attacked its own mother, killing her, and then turned its attention to the rest of the horrified onlookers, aka the baby's midwives that were helping deliver the baby, who witnessed all of this, witnessed the whole thing. The transformation from it being a baby boy to turning into the monster to then it just killed the mother that gave birth to it, and then it just turned around and killed them. Craziness. It flew at them, clawing, biting, voicing unearthly shrieks the whole time. It tore the midwives from limb to limb, maiming them and killing others.
It's crazy.
I know. So after it does all of this, it then also goes into the room next door where its siblings and father were there and attacks them too. Kills some of them, but obviously some of them live to tell the tale. And it exits this murder spree within the first, 10 minutes of it being born, flying out the chimney, heading into the Pines Forest in South Jersey, and henceforth becoming the legendary menacing monster that haunts the New Jersey, Philadelphia area. The Jersey Devil is a legendary creature, okay? It has mostly an animal body, like I said, part horse, but it also kind of looks like a man. Horns, again, 2 little horns on top of its head, a forked tail on the bottom, big bat-like wings, and a thirst for animal blood. This thing just does not stop killing, okay? It is said to be immune to most weapon, but iron causes its pain. It's said to prowl through the marshes and the forest of southern New Jersey, and occasionally rampages through towns and cities, which is why the saying goes, be back before dawn or the Jersey Devil will get you.
Oh.
I've never heard that.
I hadn't either. Isn't that crazy? I didn't know that was the origin story.
Why did they decide to commemorate that devil with a hockey team?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't answer that one for you.
I wonder if the hockey team, like, acknowledges it ever.
Is this real?
Like, come on. Do you think that a monster is real?
But who came up with that then?
I know, that's so creative. It was Ben Franklin?
History favors Ben Franklin. I don't know if it was him or someone else close to him, but definitely someone had to be spreading some very crazy rumors back in the day.
So Ben Franklin's trying to slander the Leeds family.
Leeds family.
Because that's who he was going up against.
Yes.
T.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And I did a few different Google searches. I couldn't figure out how Mother Leeds and Titan Leeds were related, unfortunately. I was looking up, like, wife, sibling, family tree, distant cousin, like, did she marry in? I could not figure it out. So I don't know how, like, if there's a generational difference or anything between Ben Franklin and Titan Leeds to Mother Leeds and Jersey Devil being born, but...
Wait, so...
That's how it all connects.
Did the story already exist, and then Ben Franklin was like, oh, Leeds, he's related to Titan Leeds? Or he just came up with the whole story?
Okay, so I don't think Ben Franklin came up with the story.
Okay.
But being that he's the famous one in history, clearly the Leeds family was not doing too hot.
But the Leeds family confirmed did have 12 kids.
Yes.
And Titan
half
Leeds,
of them died.
But Titan Leeds is unrelated to this family, to these 12 kids.
He's not the father. I can confirm that at least.
Okay.
Maybe he's like an uncle or a great uncle or something, or cousins. I don't know. That I couldn't figure out the relation between Mother Leeds to Titan Leeds, but that's not significant to the story of the origin of the Jersey Devil. But just for context, historically, Ben Franklin did not like these people.
Did he die in a tub?
I don't know.
Did he?
I didn't pay attention enough in history class. I just closed that in the beginning.
I feel like he did. Someone did.
No. I know what you're talking about. There was a president that died in a bathtub.
Who was it?
Might have been Howard Taft. I'm not kidding.
That name came to my mind too, actually.
History.
You know how, like, we all learn the president song when we're little? I did not. So
I didn't learn the president song either.
No,
twins.
I didn't
oh my
either.
god, triplets!
You were right.
Get out!
William Howard Taft.
I read a children's book once, and I don't know how, it must have been like telling us how the presidents all died, but in a comedic way. And I remember the image, and it's just a huge bathtub, and they said he was like forklift out of the tub type of thing. It was like a joke, I guess.
What a book.
I don't know. It was at the library.
Why would they make that a children's book?
I don't know.
Here's how the presidents died.
Yeah.
Quick little recap for you.
So this whole time you're telling the story, I thought it was funny because I'm just imagining a baby just running around the room.
Literally.
Doing that, but then you said they described him as a man.
Well, the baby turns
transformed.
into the monster.
Yeah.
Like, within, like, a minute of being born, let's call it.
I was picturing first the murder house baby as it was like clawing at the mom's belly.
Yeah.
And two, if any of you guys just saw the new Beetlejuice, there's a scene in there that literally was just running through my brain as Gina was telling
Don't
this.
spoil it though.
And if you saw the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Clickbait!
Crazy.
Uh-oh.
But didn't it remind you of Murder House a little bit?
It did. I thought of that scene because they were in that dark room in the basement.
Yeah.
But, like, picture the baby being born normally first. And then it turns.
Yeah.
Cannot emphasize that enough. It was born a normal human baby. And after it's completely out of the mother's birth canal, it then starts to transform into the monster.
What an image.
What if Ben Franklin was like a warlock and he put a spell on them and he made a demon baby
Maybe.
Just to ruin their reputation.
just to win the campaign?
That's it.
That man was smart, okay?
It's just politics.
Marketing genius.
It's the origin
weird.
story of the New Jersey Devil.
I never knew that story.
Me
Same.
either.
The more you know. We're learning stuff.
We're
Full
learning.
article on weirdnj.com.
I love Weird NJ. They really hook it up.
Oh, yeah. They
They
go
really
into
do.
more detail, too.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in learning more, go there. Not sponsored, but if you wanted to, Weird NJ, hit us up.
We love you, Weird NJ. I'm telling the story of Shades of Death Road in Warren County. So there are a handful of legends spun into this 2-lane Shades of Death Road in Warren County. One of the more famous street names in New Jersey roadside culture, this road runs along an old haunted lake bed, which occasionally has pillars of mist rising from the top of the water. So this is a recount from somebody that said, I don't know what causes it, but I think I've seen it when I was fishing. I think it was a legend about the early settlers killing the Indians and throwing them into the lake. This phenomena is also called the Great Meadows Fog. Some people claim to see the dead walking along the road in the mist. The road was also the site of many deaths once thought to be a curse on the area. But a local employee said that her mother had told her it was some kind of plague caused by the water that was responsible. So there's like lots of different stories going into why this road is haunted, but they all agree on the fact that it is incredibly haunted.
Yeah.
So, according to one legend, murder is at the root of the Shades of Death name. One tale relating to murder says that the original inhabitants of the area surrounding Shades of Death were an unruly band of squatters. Often, men from this vile gang would get into fights over women, and the squabbles would result in the death of one of the participants. So, brawl till death over a woman. As the reputation of these murderous bandits grew, the area they inhabited was named Shades of Death. When the civilized world encroached on and disbanded the bandits, the last remnant of their control over the meadows was restricted to one road that retained the name they made famous. Another murder theory says that the road was originally known as the Shades because of the low-hanging trees which forms a canopy over the length of the street. Legend says that over time, many murders occurred there and many stayed unsolved, causing local residents to add the sinister of death twist to the formerly pleasant Shades name. There are still other explanations of how Shades acquired its name, which have less to do with murder and more to do with death by natural causes. Shades of Death traverses an area known as the Great Meadows, which upon its original settlement was a vast area of marshy swampland. Around 1850, it's going far back, an outbreak of malaria carrying insects was discovered near a cliff face along the Shades. As the citizens around Shades came to expect the yearly outbreaks of this terrible disease, they began to participate the annual spate of deaths of friends and family members which came along with it. Like any community, their landmarks, in particular this one road, came to reflect the morose attitude that they had regarding these epidemics. Traveling along Shades of Death today, it is still a mysterious, foreboding place. Whatever the real origins of a name are, something about this tract of land caused its earliest settlers to imbue upon it a name which speaks of death. No matter which legends or facts you choose to believe, it would seem that the road's name was offered up as a warning from beyond the grave to those who might travel this dark path unaware of its potential hazards. Though we may never know for sure how the road actually got its name, it might be a good idea to heed those warnings and say a little prayer when traveling on Shades of Death Road. And that might be a little boring, but I chose 3 real people, real stories of their experiences on Shades of Death Row, and that's what I'm about to share.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So the first story is called, well, the person titled it, Beware the Fog of Lenape Lane. So this guy says, my friend Rob and I went to Shades of Death at about 1:30 in the morning. On the way back, we noticed a small road called Lenape Lane. We checked it out, and at the end, we found an abandoned stable. At this time, we got really bad chills and decided to leave. Driving back, the windshield fogged up real bad, and as the fog formed, I saw the shape of a skull appear in it. Rob told me that on his side of the windshield, he saw a cross in the fog.
Oh, hell no.
We got off Lenape Lane, and the fog disappeared.
Fuck. Hey.
Crazy.
Not the cross.
Terrifying! The second story is called 12 Bumps on Shades of Death Road. One story of Shades of Death Road is that there are 12 people buried under the road. Back in the day, they buried a family in shallow graves, causing lumps in the then dirt road. It was paved over and the bumps still remained. If you drive down the road, there will be one less bump. The owner of this one is a little boy. He's watching over his family. I have also heard of a person who committed suicide by jumping off of the overpass on Route 80. On some nights, you can see some people jump off, but they never hit the road.
What? Whoa.
Someone told my boyfriend about how he was driving down the road and he looked in the rearview mirror only to see a man on a horse following him. If he turned around to look at it out of the rear window, there was nothing there. He looked in the mirror again, and there it was.
Oh, they say that mirrors can, like,
Yeah.
show you things. That's why
But-
Bloody Mary appears in a mirror. Like, there's truth about that. You're not supposed to have two mirrors ever facing each other directly, because it
Aw.
opens, like, an infinite portal,
Mm-hmm.
per se. Ooh.
I don't like that.
The last story is titled The Ghostly Lights of Shades. So, at this one bridge, if you stop in the road, turn off your lights, and honk 3 times, you will see images of 2 kids who got killed playing in the road. I tried it and then left. Not 3 seconds after I started to move, I noticed a light behind me, like the headlight of a motorcycle, but at the height of a big truck. No matter how fast I went, it stayed right with me. As I got to the end of the road and looked in my mirror, it was right on my tail. It disappeared as quickly as it appeared. I looked behind me to see nothing but darkness. I still can't tell you what was behind me, but I will never drive down that road at night again.
Oh my god.
Wait, I want to go.
I can check it out this weekend. Hey, Alec, let's
It's
go.
literally almost by the Pennsylvania border. It's like
Really?
where we are, like directly to Pennsylvania.
His parents live in Warren County. We could just go for a drive
Oh my
up there.
god, can you?
Yeah.
Do what that last girl did.
Yeah. Crazy.
I've never heard of that before.
Same.
Crazy.
Although I'm a huge Supernatural fan, and one of the episodes in season 1 is actually like about a girl ghost that like jumps off a bridge, and like that made me think of that episode because like, did they get inspiration from that? That's such a
Probably.
like it's such a niche thing,
Yeah.
probably, to see like a spirit, like to see someone jump but their body never makes it down. You don't really hear a story like that often.
Yeah.
I would think I'm losing my mind.
I know.
Yeah.
It's cool that there's so many people to tell the same stories. And also, Weird NJ was promoting a bar that's like on this road or maybe off the main road, and like people come there and like everyone is talking about the experience they just had because they were on the same location.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We should. That's
Yeah,
what we gotta
gotta
do. We'll vlog it when we eventually do that. We'll vlog it.
There's just gonna be
the
like
spirits
a-
are nice.
A ghost in the background.
Crazy.
Yeah, we're gonna have crystals with us and like salt. I'll bring some holy water. We're gonna
I
be
feel like that's gonna
safe.
attract it almost.
Okay, do you want to get a good story? And safe protected. Come on now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
The history behind it is so
The 12
sad.
The 12 lumps is depressing.
So sad. And it's something you could believe.
Yeah. They just paved right over the graves. That's terrible.
It's terrible.
I'm super curious though. I wonder how long the road is. Like how long people are on it for.
I wonder if I can search it real quick.
That sounds way scarier than Clinton Road.
It does.
It does.
We'll cover Clinton Road, I'm sure.
6.7 miles.
God.
Oh!
Oh, that's torture.
And people drive the whole thing? Or is it just like a part of it?
That is wild. Interference in phones and cameras.
We're gonna become ghost hunters in October, you guys.
OMG.
I'm so into it.
The whole fog situation too, that's weird.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was walking down the street, there was a bunch of smoke on the road. It was probably somebody having a fire, but I was like, why is there so much smoke over there?
Did you see a skull in the middle?
Across.
Oh man. I feel like my story is so underwhelming compared to that.
No, it's fun.
That was good. Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about the Cape May ghosts.
We're very on theme with my onesie.
Here we
Did
are.
you guys plan this? If you're not watching, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm in a all ghost onesie right now to fit the vibes.
I really want it.
She came in a trench coat. What's that? I'm sorry, what's that song? Remember that time I showed up?
Remember that time I showed up with just panties under my coat?
All right, into your story.
All right, so the town of Cape May is located in South Jersey in Cape May County, and it is known for its Victorian-style houses, and there's a lot of ghost stories associated with it. And it's weird because I always will stop by in Cape May if I'm down the shore, but I guess growing up I never knew that there was ghost stories.
I never knew. I've been there so many times, never knew there was
Yeah.
ghost stories.
I'm only finding out that there's ghost stories right now. Swear to God.
Well, I had said to my parents, and then they were like, oh yeah, you know. I'm like, okay. So, But even the last time I was there, I was kind of like looking for things, but it didn't really see anything. But anyway, people believe that it is a very spiritual ground because the waters, it's the Delaware Bay and the Atlantic Ocean, like, bind in that part. And apparently the sand has high levels of quartz in it. And so they were saying that, like, the crystal quartz could attract... You guys are more crystal-y than me, so I don't really know what that means.
Well, I feel like depending on the type of crystal, it'll either protect you from the bad spirits or attract them. So without having, like, clarification on the specific crystal...
Quartz.
People keep quartz in their car for protection.
Yeah, like, and clear quartz amplifies the other crystals. So that's what I'm saying. It's even dependent on, like, the color of the quartz.
Okay. So to start off, this says, in 1943, a defense battery was built called Battery 223. And do you guys know what a battery is?
No.
No.
It's like, I didn't at the time. I had to look into this. So it says for World War II as part of a coastal defense effort, and it was built to withstand attack. And so it was used to store weapons. People could stay in it. Like,
So kind of like an armory?
yeah, kind of. Like, I'm thinking of a barrack kind of thing. But it's tall. It's a tower.
Okay.
And it was used for radio communications, and basically it could withstand an air attack, like that whole situation, and it's on the shore. But at the time it was into the water, but now since like everything's receded, it's kind of, you can access it by land. Anyway, it saw no battle action. But it is believed to be haunted due to reports of runners claiming that they have seen shadowy figures inside. But nowadays, it actually is open to the public. So you can visit it. So there's going to be a common theme here, and then we'll talk about it at the end, okay?
Okay.
So, because of this lore, there is a trolley tour that people can take when they go to Cape May. And it includes a showing of images taken in the area with unexplainable blurbs and orbs in the background. So I'm like, what do you guys think about that? I always am so curious. You know when people say, "Oh, there's this spirit in the picture."
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
In some instances, I feel like you can't argue it any other way. In
That's
some
what they're
instances,
saying.
you can be like, "Oh, that's the cloud. Oh, that's a fog. Oh, that's a thing on the camera."
Yeah.
But sometimes you genuinely can't explain it away.
There was one photographer, and he was taking a picture of the courthouse, and he said that he had like 10 shots, and then one of them had the blurb, and he was like, "Well, there's no reasoning for it. Like, what's going on?" So apparently, there's a lot of that. Anyway. One of the homes they passed is owned by a grandmother, and she would take her grandchildren there every summer. The kids were under 5 and claimed that they would play with a girl with curly blonde hair. One day, a man shows up with a photo of a girl, and the kids identified her as the one that they would play with. Turns out that this girl had been dead for many years, and like there was no follow-up to this. Like they say this, but like my question is, why did he show up?
Yeah.
And they didn't say how she died. She must have lived in that house, though, at one point. Okay?
Were they playing with her in the house?
Yeah, like the kids would say, "Oh, our imaginary friend, this is what she looks like."
Yeah, she definitely probably used to live in that house and is haunting it.
But she's just vibing with the kids, you know?
Well, not all haunts are bad.
Yeah.
But you hear a lot about the bad ones.
And this story I thought was kind of funny. You'll know why. So, it's called the Cabanas Beach Bar currently, and it was transformed, so it used to be a house, and now it is like a multi-tier bar. And there's lore about a woman named Julia who lived in the house with her child, who was born out of wedlock with her seaman. And this was seen as scandalous at the time, so she was shunned by the community and spent most days on the top floor of the house, looking out to the sea, waiting for her man to come back.
Julia.
One day, she saw a boat, excited that it could be her lost seaman. Her child ran into the street toward the water and was struck by a carriage and killed.
Oh my god!
Julia then hanged herself in the attic room. People have claimed to see her years later in that window, and over the years, psychics have visited the space and reported activity with their ghost equipment, but Cape May, like, denies to verify if this is true or not. And, like, when I tell you, there's so many stories of people saying, like, Ghostbusters were going to town, they say they hear stuff, or they have voice recordings, but how can you tell? How do you know? You know those ghost shows?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know?
That's when, like, if you don't believe that there's any sort of other logical explanation, then you're gonna go, it's a ghost. But there's always still gonna be those people that just deny. So it just depends personally, like what you're willing to believe or not believe.
Yeah. So my whole thing at the end of this is, are they just trying to profit off of small stories, you know?
I mean, if Kate May's the one denying it, I feel like they don't really have interest in it.
They're not even denying it, they're just not verifying whether it's true.
They're like keeping the suspense.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
But like they have the trolley tour, you can visit the battery for $5. Like they're making profit off of it. So I just find it a little interesting. And I could not find an origin. Like, when did this start that people thought this, you know? They're all kind of scattered, so.
The one about Julia is sad.
Yeah,
I know, I saw that, I was
so
like, whoa.
sad.
Her Seaman.
The battery one, I feel like, is the least convincing,
Yeah, like that one.
in my opinion.
Because you're just like seeing people, like, people could be there.
Yeah.
One of them said that they saw somebody smoking a cigarette in it. Like, okay, they probably weren't.
But the little girl ghost as the imaginary friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one. Oh, and then a man shows up with the picture of her. I wish there was more information.
Yeah. It's
Like-
super vague. That's why I'm like, what's
That's
this
okay.
about?
Let's talk about it in the comments. What do you think?
Yeah.
Is it real or not real?
That's all we have for this week. We hope you love our second installment of the haunting episodes. This is so fun.
Yeah.
I know I have more that I want to talk about, so I'm sure we're going to do another one of these in the next month or so.
100%. And if you have any requests, as always, comment it down below and we will get to it in a future episode.
Yeah.
Sure to give us a 5-star rating.
And before you... Oh.
No.
And before you go, be sure to follow us on social media, Instagram at theneighbors.pod, TikTok at theneighborspod, subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Neighbors Pod, and without further ado, we'll see you next week. Bye, neighbor.
Bye.
I was gonna-